Well, hello YouTube, it's your girl Zhane coming at you with another video, and this video is very special, and it's very new. Not really, but I'm going to go ahead and update you guys on my journey so far as my trying to conceive journey, my IUI journey. I don't know what I want to label this yet, but it'll be in the title of this video. And the reason why I decided to even track this journey is to see, one, if it works the first time, and if it doesn't, how many times does it take? How is this process going to work? Because I've seen a lot of people here on YouTube who are same-sex couples and who are heterosexual couples going through what they have been going through. So I decided to go ahead and document my journey as well, just to get another perspective out there. I am lesbian. I am using a donor that I do not know from a cryobank, and I'm not married, so I feel like I'm different because I'm not married and I am deciding to have a child pretty much on my own. So if you guys are interested in seeing what I have to say about my journey so far as the medication I've taken and the ultrasounds and steps that I've taken, then go ahead and just keep on watching. If you guys didn't watch my previous video, it was an update. It was actually my last update of 2017. Then go ahead and just watch that video. I'm going to go ahead and link it down below. But in that video, I spoke about me and my journey as far as being a mother. That was my huge announcement, and honestly, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm actually very ecstatic that I revealed it to you guys, so now you guys know what my plans are as far as the future goes. And this video is just going to tell you guys what I've been through so far as the military side, because I'm not going through a civilian doctor. I'm actually going through the military, and I'll explain why. So if you guys don't know, I'm currently active duty in the Air Force, and I am a divorced woman. I was married to a female, and I decided to go on this journey about a year and a half ago. It was before my divorce was finalized, and I didn't know if me and my ex-spouse were going to work things out, but I've always wanted to be a mother. So I looked into it, and I started to take the steps to become a mother. So with my experience, I can only talk about my experience personally and what the Air Force has done for me so far. So I can't speak of any other branches, or even with the Air Force if you're at a different base. I only can speak for myself with where I am right now and how the process is working with me at my base where I'm at right now. In May of 2016, I went and I saw my OBGYN, and I talked to her about fertility and how I am lesbian and how I've never been with a man, and I'm not planning on being with a man, so I'm considered to be infertile because I don't have sperm to get me pregnant, and I wanted to be a mother. So since I expressed my want of being a mother to that provider, she went ahead and put a referral in for reproductive medicine, which is also like endocrinology or whatever, and at the base that I'm at, they don't have those capabilities. So she referred me to a clinic at an Army base, which is a bigger base that has more clinics, more specialty clinics in them. So I was referred to that specialty clinic. The process with that specialty clinic was kind of crazy. It took me a while to get in my first appointment, but I had to cancel my first appointment because I was going through a divorce at that time, so I didn't know if I actually wanted to go through with the process. So I ended up separating from my spouse July of 2016, and then the divorce was finalized in February of 2017. So in May of 2017, I wanted to keep that referral open, and I know since I'm medical that you have to see the doctor within a year to keep that specialty referral open. So in May of 2017, I went back to the same OBGYN. I expressed to her that I was divorced now, and I still wanted to be a mother, but I decided to do it on my own, but I'm still infertile. I still don't want to be with a man. I'm still not going to be with a man, never been with a man, etc. She went ahead and put another referral in for me, and in July of 2017, I had my first appointment with the reproductive clinic. And with the reproductive clinic, the first appointment that you have to do is an orientation. So I went to the orientation, and it was a lot of other people in the auditorium. After that orientation, I asked a couple questions. They gave us a lot of information about the processes. They talked about IUI, so that's intrauterine insemination, and they also talked about IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. Those two topics are completely different, but the end outcome is the same. You want a baby, so it helps with, you know, conceiving and having a baby. So I got a lot of information, I took a lot of notes, and then we went ahead and scheduled my initial appointment to see my doctor and to get information from him. So I scheduled that appointment. That appointment wasn't until a month later, so the end of August. And then when I saw him, he explained the whole process in detail. He did an ultrasound on me, and since I don't have a baby in me, the ultrasound is a transvaginal ultrasound, which means it's basically like kind of like, it's an ultrasound utensil. It's kind of shaped like a baseball bat in a sense, but it's smaller. It's a lot smaller, but it has like that domed shape, and it is inserted into your vagina. So the ultrasound is kind of like an x-ray. You can see the structures, you can see, you know, outlinings of things, but you can't really see like the actual, you know, flow of things and the uterus and all that other good stuff. So he let me know that from what he could see, everything looked great. I had some follicles that were maturing because I was about to ovulate, so he told me that. That was news to me. I've never been with a man before. I've never had sex with a guy, so knowing my body and knowing like my parts actually work, I didn't know, because I've never had a pregnancy scare. I've never had any of that, so I never knew if it even worked in the first place. So he let me know that everything looked fine. He put in some labs for me to get done, and it was a whole bunch of labs, y'all, a whole bunch of labs, but he put in those labs for me to get. Now, the reason why this process is happening so long is actually my fault after that appointment in August. So I was told to go to get all of the labs drawn when I started my period on the first day, so that's cycle day 1. So cycle day 1, I was supposed to call them, let them know that I started my cycle, and then get these labs drawn. So instead of getting it done in September, I got them done in October, because I was under the impression that I had to get all of these labs done the same month that I wanted the IUI done, which was not true. The process takes about 2 cycles for my doctor and what we discussed. So cycle day 1 of my first cycle, I had to call them, let them know that I started and what day I started on, and then after that, go and get my labs drawn on cycle day 3, take my prenatals and all that other good stuff. Then I would go, they would schedule me an HSG, which I'll talk about shortly, and then after scheduling that HSG, they told me to give them a call back and to schedule an appointment with that provider. The month of September, I did not do that because, like I said earlier, I was under the impression that I was just going to get everything done in the same month, but that's not how it works. Cycle day 1 of October, I went ahead and I called them. I let them know that I started my cycle, and then I got the labs drawn on cycle day 3. Some of the labs I had to fast for, so they did recommend that you fast, so that means you don't eat for about 12 hours. So I couldn't eat, I was hungry, I was hangry, and then they were taking all this blood from me. It was ridiculous. I got all those labs drawn. I let them know that I started my cycle and everything like I was supposed to, and I scheduled my HSG. Then I went ahead and scheduled an appointment. I scheduled an appointment to see my provider again, all right? So this is where crazy stuff started happening, and then I started to get discouraged or whatever. So when I went in to get my HSG done, and an HSG is a oh God, I'll put it right here or whatever. It's a radiological procedure where the radiologist kind of does the same thing like a pap smear. So he or she will put a speculum into your vagina, and they'll locate your cervix, clean off your cervix, and they'll insert a catheter into your uterus, and they will squeeze dye. They will inject dye into your uterus just to see if your uterus doesn't have any polyps or growths in them, and also to see if your fallopian tubes are open, to see if the dye spills out the ends of them, just to see if everything is open and there's no obstructions, there's no cysts or anything like that. Like, they just want to make sure everything is nice and clear so you can proceed with your process. If there are things that they find, then the provider can go ahead and help you with that situation or let you know what's the best option for you. So for that time, that cycle in October, I had to get a pregnancy test done prior to the procedure. And this was my fault. It was my fault, but I completely forgot about getting that pregnancy test done. So when I went to check in for the appointment, they asked me if I got my pregnancy test done, and I said no. So I went to the lab that was at that clinic, and I got the lab drawn, and literally I waited for about an hour, and the clinic ended up closing, so they didn't get my lab result in time, so I had to reschedule. That pissed me off, okay? It pissed me off. But, you know, it was my fault. I didn't get that lab done, so I had to reschedule and I had to push everything back. The month of October, I went back home for the holidays, and that was when I was on my cycle, so I wasn't able to get that lab done either. So I had to wait until December. So December, I had my cycle on the 8th of December. And I called them again, did all the process, told them I got all my labs done and everything. I just needed to get the HSG done. So I scheduled the HSG. I got that done. The actual HSG was very uncomfortable. The painful part, honestly, was when, as soon as he put the catheter in my uterus and injected the dye, it was like severe, not severe, but very moderate cramps. Like, for me personally, my cramps are horrible, so if you have a high tolerance for pain, more power to you. You may not think that that procedure is painful, but for me, the painful part was when he injected the catheter into my uterus. The actual, you know, pap smear part is very uncomfortable for me, but it's doable. That procedure lasted about 5 minutes, but that was probably the longest 5 minutes of my life so far, because it was so painful. Like, the cramps were just, it was like I felt just my body was just cramping. It was just cramping. I think my uterus was like, get out, I don't know what you're doing, get out. So after that, well, while he was doing it, he let me see the screen that showed my uterus and my ovaries and everything, and he injected the dye, and he was taking pictures, and he just explained like, okay, everything looks good, we don't see any growths, but I will look closer on my big screen to see if I see anything, and I'll give you a call if I do. And what we say in the medical field is no news is good news. So if they don't call you with anything, that means everything is pretty much good. So the HSG was done. Then I went ahead and saw my provider about a week later. And I got assigned a new provider because my provider, the male that I was seeing earlier, he was overbooked. So he was booked for months. So I didn't want to wait that long. So I went ahead and got a new provider. She's a female. And I went to see her, and we talked about my labs. We talked about sperm donors and approved clinics. And then after that, she told me to call in whenever I had my cycle in the month of January. So January 7th, I had my cycle. That was my cycle day 1, which was a Sunday. So that Monday, I gave them a call, let them know that I started my cycle. Cycle day 3, they told me to come in for my baseline appointment. So for your baseline appointment, what I had to do was I had to report to the lab at that clinic at 6 o'clock in the morning. Honey, it was early. That's how you know I'm committed to this, because I'm not a morning person at all. Yes, I'm in the military, but I'm not a morning person. I had to report to the clinic at 6 o'clock to sign in and to go and get my labs drawn. The labs that they took was my FSH and my LH, so your follicle stimulating hormone and your, I can't pronounce the L word, but that L word hormone. And it's basically to see about your ovulation, what your levels are, estrogen, progesterone, things like that. And then after that, I had to wait a little bit, and then the ultrasound started around 7:30. I went in to see my provider, and she did a transvaginal ultrasound. Now, it was very weird because I was on my cycle when she did this ultrasound, but they're professionals and they're used to it. So she just did the ultrasound. She counted how many follicles I had on my left and right side. So on my right side, I had 4 follicles. 2 of them were 10 millimeters, which are pretty small, but I was on my cycle, so, you know. My left ovary had 3, but 1 was collapsed, so I had 2. And when she said that, I was kind of like, what? 1 was collapsed? And basically, she said all that means is that's where I ovulated from. So I ovulated from my left ovary. And after that, it was pretty quick. That appointment was maybe like her actually doing the ultrasound was maybe like 3 minutes because she got paged to go to the OR. So after that, I put my clothes on and she prescribed to me Clomid and Overdrill. So I think that's how you say it, Overdrill. It's the trigger shot. So I went to the pharmacy, picked up my prescription. I had to take the Clomid on days 3, cycle days 3 through 7, so it was 5 days. I took the medicine around 10 o'clock that morning, so every day at 10 o'clock after that, I took my medicine. And I'm going to go ahead and go into the symptoms of my Clomid. So I'm just putting everything in this video. With the Clomid, the first day I started taking it, I was pretty okay. Later on in the day, I felt hot. Like, she did tell me what the side effects were going to be, and normally I don't have side effects when it comes to medicine, so I was kind of like, okay, like, it's not going to happen to me. But I was getting hot, and I've never really had hot flashes before, but I was experiencing hot flashes, and that's one symptom that I would say was consistent throughout the 5 days of me taking the medication. After I took that last dose on Saturday, like Sunday, and today, I haven't experienced any hot flashes like that at all. Another symptom that I experienced was headaches and also irritability. Normally when I'm on my cycle, I do get irritable or annoyed, but this time it was even more irritable. Like, everything kind of pissed me off. Not pissed me off, but it really bothered me. So like, I was stuck in traffic and I just got really irritated at the fact that I was in traffic. But other than the irritability and the hot flashes, I was pretty much okay. I did experience some headaches, but I do get headaches regularly, so I didn't know if it was from me just getting my regular headaches or if it was from the medication. Even though it is a side effect, I just chalked it up to me just having headaches most of the time. But yeah, that was pretty much the Clomid. The Clomid isn't that big. I wish I would have had some to show you guys. This is kind of the dilemma that I'm in now. Today is January 15th, 2018, and I got a text message from my leadership and my supervisor, my coworkers, stating that we don't have work tomorrow because in San Antonio it's supposed to snow again, and they shut down Lackland Air Force Base. So pretty much none of us are going to work because of the weather, and I have my appointment tomorrow. My follow-up appointment is tomorrow, so basically everything I did for my baseline appointment I have to do again today since I'm not on my cycle anymore, and they are able to see my follicles and they can see them maturing because the Clomid is basically a medication to encourage ovulation. What they're gonna do is, what they were supposed to do tomorrow is look to see how fast and how big my follicles are to give me an estimated day of my IUI. So since we're having inclement weather tomorrow, I don't know if I'm still supposed to report or not because I don't know if that clinic is open. So what I'm gonna do is, just to make sure that I'm safe, is I'm going to wait until 7:30 in the morning tomorrow, and I'm gonna call the clinic to see if they are open. If they are open, then I'm gonna go ahead and do my follow-up, and if they aren't open, then I'll just have to reschedule a day, but it has to be fast because I might miss my window for them to see me ovulating, so it has to be within the next couple days. So if everything goes as planned, she told me that best case scenario, the IUI should be this Friday, the 19th of January. Like, that's blowing my mind. So that's pretty much how my process has been since the beginning, and I really hope that this opened up your eyes and showed you guys kind of how long the process can be. It just depends. Since I am going through a military medical facility, it might be a little bit different as far as like appointments and things like that. As far as costs go, the only cost that I have is paying for my actual vial of sperm. So that is it. The clinic that I decided to go with is Seattle Sperm Bank, and I did a lot of research and I saw some people here on YouTube who use that clinic as well, who had successful pregnancies. So I decided to go with that clinic because of the pricing and also the donor that I found. I absolutely love that donor, and he is just the perfect donor for me and my wants and my likes. So yeah, I decided to go with Seattle Sperm Bank. They are a reliable source. So my doctor did look them up for me to see if they were reliable and if they were approved, and they are, so they're pretty good. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. I'm looking forward to posting again at the end of the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for all of the positive words for when I revealed it to you guys that I was trying to conceive. I really appreciate your support and your love and your warm words. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All of my information will be down in the description box. Please don't forget to read the description box because I work very hard on those. Very hard. I love you guys so much. Bye.